connection with the death of a homeless man in Southern California has gotten even more intense as one of the officers now is trying to get his old job back. Last week, Officer Manuel Ramos and Corporal Jay Cicinelli were found not guilty in the death of 37-year-old Kelly Thomas, who's mentally ill and homeless. Cell phone and surveillance video captured a violent struggle between Thomas and 6 police officers at a transit station in Fullerton on July 5, 2011. Kelly died 5 days later. Defense attorneys argued Thomas was combative and ignored the officers' orders. A day after their acquittal, Cicinelli's attorney said he would begin the process of trying to regain the post he lost. After residents took to the streets to protest the verdict this weekend, people packed Fullerton City Hall Tuesday night to speak out against the reinstatement. Now, the police chief has already said he would not allow the officers back, but the decision ultimately lies with the city council. And if they don't accept him, he can still take it up with higher courts. Kelly's father, Ron Thomas, was also at the meeting Tuesday night. He joins me now for his time. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. And obviously, we want to express our condolences to your family for the loss of your son. I know you don't want this officer to get his job back, but what can you say to the city council at this point that wasn't revealed in court and what you and the many supporters have said?
Well, Jay Cicinelli was out of the police academy for the Los Angeles Police Department only 2 weeks when he encountered a real bad guy who shot him several times, including in the face. He lost his left eye. As that turned out, the LAPD would no longer allow him to be a police officer, and he's been collecting a pension for the last 10 years, and he will for the rest of his life because he was unable to perform his duties as a police officer. As a favor to the LAPD, they called the chief at the time, Pat Sellers, who was former LAPD. He was the chief of Fullerton, to bring this guy on in Fullerton, and they hired him. The same officer who could not perform his duties in the LAPD, Fullerton hired. He's the one who wants his job back. He's the one that beat Kelly repeatedly in the face with a taser and said he had no other options but to beat his face to hell. No, I don't want him to get his job back. Nobody wants him to get his job back.
You talk about your son, and obviously much of the focus has been on those 2 officers, but in court, kind of get your thoughts when you have attorneys who are saying that your son was not harmless and helpless, and portrayed him in a far different way than what you've said and what many know they saw at that scene that day.
Well, it's true. I mean, you know, Kelly was a really good guy, loved to laugh, have fun, and as the video clearly showed, he wasn't bothering anybody. But they went back in his past. He had some altercations in his life over the last 18 years, and they portrayed him as this horrible, drug-crazed maniac that was out there, you know, to beat up the police. When the true evidence, the only evidence about any drug use in Kelly's past are drug tests that he took over 18 years, and every single one of them come back negative, and that wasn't allowed in court. So the defense attorneys took that and they ran with it. The fact that Kelly actually stated to a psychologist 18 years ago that he had tried meth 18 years ago. He said he tried it in the 10th grade. So they ran with it, made him out to be this drug crazed maniac, and it just wasn't the case at all. But again, they couldn't bring up anything in the officer's past, only in Kelly's. Therefore, I feel my son did not get a fair trial as a victim.
Well, I know, as we mentioned, this is in the hands of the city council, and if they don't take this up, they can go to a higher court. The police chief has already made his stance and will continue to follow this development, but I want to thank you again for making time for us and our thoughts with you and your family. We really appreciate it, sir.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be right back.